So when they do come and reach out to you, what does that look like? I mean, how do they first of all hear about it, and then when they do come, I imagine they're super hesitant, or what is their like frame of mind?
Yeah, there's a lot of apprehension, a lot of hesitation, a lot of myths and stereotypes that they have in their head about guns and gun culture. And
Mhm.
so there's a lot of emotional and psychological hurdles that you have to overcome with those people in the process. Takes a take quite a long time, and they're starting from, not just okay, I haven't touched a gun or shot a gun in a long time, but I'm afraid to touch this thing. This thing is scary to me.
Mhm.
Only cops and bad guys have them, and this is
Mhm.
not for me to deal with. And the only thing that I know about them is that bad things happen when you deal with them. And so, it
Right.
actually prepared me for what I do now.
Mhm.
So which is trying to bring more people who are not part of traditional gun culture, but they call what David Yamane calls gun culture 2.0, bringing those people over into the gun culture is where I've actually had a lot of reps doing that because that's what I've been doing, trying to convince that the people with that mindset since I was young.
Yeah, you've had so much practice. So then tell us then, because I mean, with the experience that you have, I imagine you're really good at building that bridge. So could you speak to that? What does that look like from an instructor standpoint? And gosh, I wish I had some. I always think of the good ideas after the fact. Wouldn't it be cool to have one or two of your students, right, that have come in to your organization and what their journey has been? Maybe you can talk about one or two of your students that have had quite an exceptional journey that went from point A to point Z, and it was just like a, huge difference from where they started.
A good story is Tiff's. I mean, if you've watched her story, that's quite typical. Atypical in a way. Tiff happened to walk in the range master and get a permit class from Tom Givens.
Yeah.
So yeah, which brings the point that the important point about it is what we teach here is something Kathy Jackson told me a long time ago, which was and I want to thank her again for changing my life when she said it, was that the best instructors should teach the new people. And that's what Tiff got when she walked into Range Master. And so that's what we try to do here is because we try to meet people where they are. And a lot of times it
Mhm.
takes gun people like us who've been around them and who are now comfortable around them to remind ourselves that guns are scary, guns are dangerous. I mean, anything you have
Mhm.
to have four rules or four principles to even handle and keep those in mind is by definition what a dangerous tool, a dangerous object. And so keep
Mhm.
those things in mind and realize that, just think about what it takes to stand on a line next to a bunch of people with guns and assume that none of them are going to turn around and shoot you with it.
Mhm.
We make those assumptions because we're used to it and we're in the industry, we're in the culture. They
Yeah.
don't. I mean, just think what it takes to say, okay, you're going to go stand in a line with a whole bunch of strangers and do something that's absolutely terrifying. And so when you
Yeah,
put
and
yourself in that mindset, now you have to start thinking, okay, how do I talk to somebody like that? You know what I'm saying? How do I
mhm.
make myself less intimidating? That's part of it. You know what I'm saying? How do I
Mhm.
approach them in a less intimidating manner? We're very, very nice. You know what I'm saying? We're very welcoming. We like to say, as opposed to meeting them halfway, we do the extra 10 to 15%. So we're meeting them at 60 and 65%. We're patient, takes a lot of patience. And certain tools and certain ways of dealing. And we like to make sure that we're approachable and that they can relate to us. Because if they can't relate to you, then you give them the option to say to themselves, okay, well, I'll never be like you. And it goes all the way
Mhm.
down to how we dress, how we present ourselves. How I dress, for example, to a class of newbies is very different than how I may dress when I'm dealing with a class of law enforcement officers that I'm about to teach. That's a different that's a different approach. Some of it is, believe it or not, is the same because you got people coming
Mhm.
into law enforcement who aren't gun people, what I'm saying? So there is
Mhm.
still some use for that. But I want them to look at me and go, hey, he looks like me. As opposed to talking about my long resume, for example, in the beginning class, or
Mhm.
talking to these people, what am I saying? I'm a granddad. I've got now four grandkids, I've got kids, and